Hi everyone, good day and welcome to our ABE 197 class or the methods of research for ABE. So this time for this video, I will be presenting to you the types of research in general for different fields of specializations. So for this lecture, we will identify what are those types of research, what are those considerations in conducting researches, particularly in the agricultural and biosystems engineering field. So with this, allow me to share with you my presentation for this lecture. Okay, so this is our lecture 3 or the lesson number 3, which is titled uh, Types of Research. So there are a lot of, there are a lot of researches, types of researches that we have to tackle for this presentation, for this lecture. So this is our third lecture, which focus mainly on the types of research. So the types of research might not be specific to the agricultural and biosystems engineering, but as a whole, these types of research are can be applicable or selected for the agricultural and biosystems engineering field. Okay, as a recap, the last time we have talked about research as a whole. So the research answers only those questions of which the answers are not available in the literature as discussed previously, such as the human knowledge. Then we can say that research seeks the answer only of those questions which in which the answers can be given on the basis of available facilities. So as we have discussed the last time, we have defined research as might be a new findings, an addition or an additional uh, like an additional information, but not the available information on the internet or on the books, journal articles, magazines. So a research, we can say that it is a research if you have added information to what is existing, you have found a new findings, or you have invented or you have innovated something that has not been existing in the previous or in the recent or in the present days. So you cannot say it's a research if you just get the data from the internet, from the books, from the journal articles, from the magazines, or from any resources. So it is no longer research if the data that you get are existing or available and not new findings. Okay, we have discussed that previously, and we have defined uh, research as a whole. Uh, what is research? What's the difference, and what are the characteristics of research according to PM Cook during our last meeting? So I just review this in order for us to continue the topic which is related to research. We have also discussed the important ingredients for research, wherein we have mentioned the various ingredients such as creativity, dedication and commitment, consistency and patience, written communication, oral communication, as well as the most important one, the basic or the domain knowledge in conducting researches. Okay, so with this, we will continue with our formal lecture for the types of research. Okay, the types of research as defined or classified according to Baryagi and Munot in Research Methodology book in the year 2019, uh, there are at least 9 or 10 general classification or types of research. So different research types, I just want to emphasize, are being discussed in this lecture. They are classified in various categories, including applicability, the mode of inquiry in conducting the study, and the major objectives of the study. Selection of research method depends on the discipline of the research, objectives, and the expected outcomes. One research problem may use multiple research types. The main research types discussed in this lecture include the basic research, applied research, qualitative research, quantitative research, exploratory research, explanatory research, experimental research, analytical research, correlational research, and descriptive research. So we will define all of these types, all of these classes of research according to their application, okay, their objectives and their applicability or their mode of inquiry or uh, their suitability in getting or in conducting researches. Okay, the first one we have basic research. A basic research is pure or fundamental research. There is no immediate need, but new theories can be added to the knowledge cluster. This type of research may solve problems but may not have practical applications. So, for this type of research, we have one basic or a common example, which are the theories in mathematics and sciences, such as the gas law. Okay, so this kind of research is a very fundamental, very useful in different aspects. However, this is not that kind of research that we have to conduct for the purpose of meeting or for the purpose of addressing certain issue or certain problem. So this is just a basic, or this is just a true research that is being conducted for the sole purpose of maybe gaining additional knowledge, gaining additional information, or confirming what is being existing. So this is just a type of research that is not like on demand or necessary, uh, on uh, on demand to have to get the data and to use it maybe for the community or for the people. So this is just a research which may add up, or we may solve problems but not that much like have impact or practical impact. Okay, so another example for this research, we have the Newton's law of motion. So they are the type of research that are sequential, like after conducting this study we need to confirm for another study, we need to confirm, and so on, with the different findings or continuous findings or confirmations. Okay, so the basic research, again, it has a broader scope compared to other research, or specifically for applied research. So in comparing the applied research and the basic research is has a broader scope than the applied research. The applied research tries to solve an immediate specific problem faced by industry or society. So this type of research is in contrast with the basic research. If you could recall, the basic research are those researches that are conducted which are not that much important, or which are not much unnecessary for a certain issue or for a certain problem, or to solve any problem with the industry or the society. While for the applied research, it will attempt to solve an immediate or a specific problem faced by the industry, by the people, or the society. Okay? The obtained solution can be deployed to solve the problem. The duration of applied research is shorter as a quick solution is expected. In addition, in the applied research, the researcher may use data analytics, like somehow like image processing, algorithms, or running a program, and like in the information communication systems, and knowledge of like the medical industry. So any advancement in the medical industry, in the computer systems. So which will solve a certain issue or a certain problem. So it's an applied research. The outcome of applied research should either address the unsolved problem or improve the existing solution. So for example, first example, we have analysis of cell or organ behavior in cancer. So the cancer, the disease or the disease or like chronic disease cancer is already known, but the doctors will still study, they will continuously study on the behaviors of these cancer or the cells affecting these cancer cells and etc. and etc. So though the cancer is already given or already uh, known, but the medical practitioners, the medical scientists are still conducting studies to study the behavior or the trends or whatever innovations or technologies applicable for cancer. Okay, so it's like a confirming studies or consequential studies for the cancer. Another example is design specifically for agricultural engineering. No? Design of mechanical rice thresher. So why the rice thresher has been studied or has been invented, because thresher can harvest the rice from its stalk. So the rice stalk will be separated from the grain. So that's the main reason why the rice thresher was invented. So there was a problem that was being achieved or was being answered or solved during the invention of the rice thresher. So you have solved a certain issue or a certain problem in a community or in a certain group of people. That's applied research. The last example is the third one. Like the recent years, so there was invention or like most of the scientists in the world were so eager in inventing a cure or in formulating the COVID-19 vaccine, right? So recently, there are about at least four to five vaccines that were invented, formulated to address the need for COVID-19 pandemic. So it's an applied research. So the vaccine was a result of emergency or demand from the world or from the global community to address the problem in uh, COVID or the pandemic. So it's an applied research. So whatever vaccine that we have that are available as of today or as of the moment, those are products or those are outputs of applied researches. So that's how the applied research differs from the basic research. The third one, we have descriptive research. Okay. Descriptive research, by definition, is generally used in business analysis or social problems. This type of research does not have any control over the parameters or variables. It just tries to represent or analyze the previous and or current facts. So this is somehow related to the applied research, but the application of descriptive research is generally or mainly or basically used in business or social analysis. Okay, it will use or it will utilize uh, available facts or any like opinions or any thoughts from maybe from the people from the community, and then they will get that idea thoughts, and then they will uh, get the recent facts or available data, and then they will utilize it and then will analyze. So that's descriptive research. Okay, this is also known as ex post facto research. Why? Okay, because in the descriptive research, uh, all kinds of correlational methods, survey methods, and comparative studies are called descriptive research. That's why it is called ex post facto research. From the term ex post, maybe means ex means already done or already not uh, done already or already established from the term exposed. Okay, and then facto means facts. So there are already available or established facts. So you will just utilize it, and then you will conduct or confirm a research. So it's called ex post facto research. Okay, some of the examples of descriptive research include an analysis of customer purchase patterns, that is purchase from the mall. So it's the first example is analysis of customer purchase pattern in a mall. So there's a mall, and then there are already there are uh, shoppers, there are people who are going to the mall, and then you will conduct a survey. For example, you already know that this product is good or rich in vitamin C, and then you will conduct a study, another confirmation study using descriptive research, and then you will gather the data, or you will conduct a survey, and then you will give survey questionnaire to the shoppers, and then you will ask if what are their experiences after using this product, like this and like that, and then you collected all the data based from the responses of the shoppers or the customers, and then you analyze the data, and then you confirm that based on the previous study or the previous data, it is also related or the same or similar with the recent data that you have gathered from a group of customers. So it's an analysis of customer purchase pattern in a mall, just an example. And why it relates to descriptive research? By definition, it is used in business analysis or social sciences, right? So business, because it's a product, you're talking about product, and then you conducted research. So it's part of descriptive research because you are studying the maybe somehow the pattern, like that, the pattern of customers in a mall. Another example is you are studying the travel mode of people. Okay, what are the travel mode of people? Like in a certain city, you have a random sampling and then a random sample or group of people. You have conduct a research on what are their travel mode. Okay, how do they travel? They travel weekly, monthly, annually. What are those transportation that they opt to choose? It's either by air, by land, by sea. So it's still part of descriptive research because it's you can, after getting the data, and then you can generalize that, oh, okay, the people from this certain group or certain community traveled monthly by average, and then you have concluded that based on the data, the people prefer to travel by land than by sea or by air. Okay, so based on the research or based on the data that you have gathered, so you have studied the travel mode of people. It still relates to the meaning of descriptive research, wherein you mostly used by uh, business or social uh, studies. Okay. The third example is the study of the effect of global warming on birds. Okay. Why? What's the effect of global warming on the birds? So it relates to the social or trends or patterns or effects of the global warming on birds. So there are already available data that maybe and you can review that the birds are affected by this weather or this phenomenon. However, I want to be specific with the global warming. So I want to study the effect of global warming on birds. So there's already an established data, but you want to confirm or you want to get the relationship correlational of that certain data to your inquiry. So it's still part of the descriptive research. However, these examples are just basic or simple examples of descriptive researches. There are a lot of descriptive researches that are available or by meaning or by definition are still part of the descriptive research. Okay, various kinds of systematic surveys are conducted, including the study of various cultural practices, are still part of descriptive research, like cultural, traditional studies, which are part of the social analysis or social problems. The regional specific study of particular disease and analysis of the development of particular businesses. So Particularly, these descriptive research are mostly applied. Descriptive research is mostly applied in problems related to business and social or economic, social economic problems. Okay, then the next one we have analytical research. Okay, analytical research, by definition, uses existing information to explain a complex phenomenon or to perform a critical evaluation. Okay, so for the analytical research, this type of research is mostly observed in historical study. So particularly in historical study, in forensic research, like someone who was already dead or already killed, and then you have to get the data, you have to get the information, why it happened, who were involved. So it's analytical research, so it may be apply the uh, like a complicated research may apply a certain like certain uh, like for any profession, and then you conduct, like for example for medicine or for forensic works, mostly for medicine, and then they will conclude or they will find an information, even if they do not know or they were not related to a specific person, and then why they can conclude, why they can say that these are the things, or this might be the possible reasons why the person has been killed or the person is dead. So they can explain that without knowing the uh, without knowing the any specific information because of analytical capacities. So it's might complicated. So for the analytical research, can also with the philosophical research or philosophical researches, right? Then the identified hypothesis based on their findings can be accepted or rejected depending on their final verdict or final analysis from the experience or from their available or based on their correlational or based on the facts or based on the uh, analytical data that they have gathered, so they can conclude that okay, uh, this might be the reasons why this a certain like certain person has been killed, or uh, why what's the reason why he's now dead because of these particular analytical findings that they have gathered. Okay, so this type of research are quite uh, complicated or quite needs professionalism and expertise. So analytical research are also conducted in laboratories and experiments. So those are still part of the analytical researches. Okay. Uh, the can be like rejected or can be accepted, like there's a null or there's an hypothesis that is being set before doing the analysis, and then based on the data gathered, then it's either you reject or you accept the hypothesis that you have set. So it's just analytical researches. And then the analytical research, accordingly, it will summarize and evaluate the ideas based on the historical research for accessing both witness and literature sources to document past events. So analytical research is mainly or commonly used in crimes, like scene of the crimes, like any other issues or any other situations related to crimes, and uh, like analysis or any problems related or similar with crime. So analytical research is very much applicable in crime, scene of the crime problems or situations. Okay, so example also, first example is to explain how and why the US trade balance move in a particular way. So very critical and very challenging research. I mean, you have to gather and then you have to collate and then uh, you have to set criteria, you have to in your methods for this particular research, you have to identify and then group a pool of samples or persons involved for this study. Maybe for this first example, this is quite political, or this is quite international related, or the relationship between one country and the other country. So very critical and very challenging type of research. Another example is how the lifestyle of people affects the TV viewing habits. So it's part of like a historical research, or uh, like literature. I mean, the literature research review of this particular type of research is quite challenging, because you have to relate the lifestyle of people in terms of their TV viewing habits. It's in reality, for you as not a mere researcher, why I have to uh, make it an issue, or why I will give I will set this an issue on my lifestyle versus my TV viewing habits. So for you, it might not be a problem, but for some researchers, this might have an impact. So that's why they have to try to study and then get the data, and then uh, publish their findings. Okay, so this is very critical. Okay, then the other example is the impact of mobile phones or games in high school students. So see, like some people might say that okay, it's normal because it's available, it's already the generation. Okay, the generation is already we have rampant of mobile phones or gadgets. But for the researchers, they want to find out, they want to study the impact of this addiction to mobile phones or gadgets to the education of students. Okay, so it's quite related. And maybe other examples like what are the relationship, or what are the effects of uh, mobile games or gadgets to the uh, not just for the education of students, but also for their career, right? For their chosen career, or for their lifestyle, maybe somehow, right? So it's might a complicated type of research, because this is analytical. It requires ample time, knowledge, and expertise as well. The next one is correlational. For the correlational research, uh, this is mainly focused on exploring the relationship or association between incidences, variables, and so on. Okay, the relationships among two or more variables are studied without any attempt to influence them. For example, uh, in correlational research, like you want to study the the textural characteristics of a certain fruit, okay, during drying. For example, uh you want to predict the textural characteristics of banana under different drying conditions. So what are those separate or group of variables? So for this example, the textural characteristics and drying conditions are two separate groups of variables, right? So you have textural characteristics of banana, and then you have the drying conditions of banana. So another variable, group of variable. Then the collected data, you can analyze or establish the relationship between the textural characteristics and the drying conditions of banana. So two group of variables, and then you have to relate, and then you can get the analysis based on the relationship or the correlation. Okay? When you say correlation, it's an analysis based on two or more variables, or two or more identities. So identity one, or variable one, variable two, you have to correlate the relationship. No? You have to get the relationship. So it's correlational analysis. So that's the first example. The second example, you want to investigate the effect of storage on the shelf life of food products. So what are your variables? The first group of variables are storage temperatures. Okay? The other group are shelf life. Okay? When you say shelf life, it is related to the quality, related to its deterioration. So you have a group of variables. For group one variables, you have temperature, might be 10 degrees, 20 degrees, and 30 degrees. So what are the effects of those storage temperatures versus the shelf life? Or for example, when you say shelf life, the taste, the color, right? The ripeness, okay? So the weight, so versus the different temperature. So group variable 1 and then group variable 2, and then you have to correlate, you have to get the relationship. So it's correlational analysis. Another example, you want to evaluate the kinetics or the changes of color properties of mango during drying. So you have set a variables of color properties, like color properties in terms of lightness, greenness, redness, yellowness, and then you want to get the changes of that as different drying methods, right? So you have a group of variables in terms of storage, and then group of variables in terms of drying. So you want to correlate, you want to get their relationship, and then is it the trends like positively related, negatively related, or there's no relationship at all. So it's a correlation research. So when you say correlation research, it's just a relationship of identified variables or identified parameters. Okay, qualitative research, however, is from the term quality, right? Quality means you have set of parameters, and then you want to check that parameters, whether they address or they adhere, whether they follow the protocols, they follow the guidelines. So that's quality. Maybe they are good, they are bad, they are good for rejection, they are uh, in terms of weight, is it the weight is belongs to this range, the weight belongs to this. So it's quality. You are defining a certain object or a certain material in terms of the set of standards. So when you say quality research or qualitative research, deals with the quality or the types of the parameters considered for the research. In this type of research, it is assumed that the world is unstable and differences in the parameter may occur with time. Okay, so your factor in this type of research is time. Okay, so the qualitative research, again, I just want to emphasize that whatever the changes for that certain parameter, or you like as you have set a certain property, and then it changes as time changes also, so it's a qualitative research. Okay, in addition, everybody can react to the situation differently, and it is difficult to propose the predictive conclusions. Okay, I will give you one best example for this research type of research. For example, guys, uh, there are group of people, like two groups of people. uh, First group is composed of five persons. The other group is composed also of five persons. And then you want to the researcher wanted you to taste something like a food or a product, an agricultural product. Okay, this group of people, the first group, okay, you taste this one. Okay, after 10 hours or after 24 hours, you taste again the same product. Okay, and then you put there the taste, or the what are your thoughts, or what are the specific taste that you have tasted, or what are the characteristics or the taste characteristics that you have experienced after tasting the product. And then another group of people, the researcher also asks, okay, it is normal, no, it is normal that all of you, the so-called tasters, will not have the same answer, because you have your own or your personal perceptions or personal taste or preference based on the food that you have tasted, right? So it's qualitative. It matters according to the observation, or according to the experience, according to the taste of the person or preference of the person. It's qualitative research. And then after getting the data, the researcher will collate the data, will analyze, and then will relate, and then they will analyze, okay, the first group, by average, they have given from 1 to 10, they have given this as sweet 8. The rate is 8. Okay, because maybe the researchers will ask, in a rate of 1 to 10, how sweet is the product. Okay, the average for the first group, composed of 5 persons, they might give 8 by average, and the other group The same question, the same product, they will give 6. Okay, it's qualitative research, right? So there it might be matter because different person might have different perceptions and preferences, different taste, okay, different decisions and different as a whole preference. So that's part of qualitative research. So that's one best example of qualitative research. Okay, when you say qualitative research also as an example, another example, maybe related to human behavior. For example, uh, another researcher wants to conduct uh, a study, and then the example is like uh, a group of people with abnormalities or with somehow have problems in terms of their mental or physical health, and then the researcher wants to ask a pool of persons as interviewees, and then the researcher will give a survey questionnaire, and then based on the survey questionnaire, the questionnaire will somehow ask the the respondents to give their rating based on the performance of the person or that group of samples. Okay, so another example for that is like judging, right? Judging, like the basic judging, like a search for Miss Universe, a search for like Mr. Universe, a search for best student, a search for best in masters or in best in thesis. So there are group of judges that will judge the performer. Okay, so they have different preferences. So it's an example of qualitative research. Okay, another example is the study of behavior of employees in a company. Okay, so it's a survey type research wherein the researcher knows already the bounds and the limits of the research, the scope of the research, because different people, different respondents have different reactions or different uh, like perceptions on the situation. Okay, so it's a qualitative research. Another example is the student's perception on the online blended learning. For example, I want to conduct a research focus mainly to all of you enrolled in ABE 197, and then I want to ask you like 10 questions. So I have a survey questionnaire composed of 10 questions, and I will give you all my questions based on my questionnaire. And then, for example, first question, did you learn from a rating of, from marking or rating of 1 to 10, rate your experience or learning in my online class. Okay, and then you will give like 8, some will give 9, some will give 10, some will give 0, might somehow, right? So based on your perception and based on your experience, it's a qualitative research. So that's how the qualitative differs from the other types of research. It's still a research, but it focused mainly on qualitative and based on the perceptions, preferences, reactions, or uh, answer of the respondents based on the parameters that the researcher have set. Okay, so it's a qualitative research. The next one, we have quantitative research. For the quantitative research, it involves measurements of quantities. Okay, so quality is like a quality of a set of parameters, a set of variables based on the quality. And for the quantitative, it's quantities, meaning you can count, you can measure, you can evaluate the data in a numerical basis. So it's quantity from the term quantity. Okay, it involves measurements of quantities of characteristics that can be used as features for the research study. Unlike qualitative research, quantitative research assumes that the world is stable and uses statistical analysis on parameter values for conclusions. So it is highlighted that unlike qualitative research, the quantitative research believes, okay, the quantitative research assumes that the world is stable. That is why in quantitative research, which are usually done in laboratory, in experiments, in student thesis, you have to calibrate your sample, you have to calibrate your equipment. You have to set that, okay, from zero. The starting number is zero, not 10, not 20. Okay. It's assumed that this is the set or the standard that we have to follow. When you measure the moisture content of the sample, you have to measure from starting 0 to 100%. There's no measurement that started from 20 to 100. It's quantitative research, right? So uh, it's quantitative that you have to get the value or the data. It's what's the unit. What's the unit? You use kilogram, you use Newton, you use a pounds. Okay, you have to standardize the results or the values. So it's quantitative research. Unlike qualitative research, maybe the respondents will just give 8, 9, or 10, and not will start from 1 or 0. Okay, so quantitative is different from the other researches. Okay, and another definition, the statistical quantities that can be measured are involved in quantitative research. So these are the things or the common researches that are done in laboratories or in experiments, in student theses, uh, other requirements or laboratory analysis, home activity, assignment that are given to you. So these are quantitative works or quantitative researches. First example is finding number of individuals taking benefits of different government policies. For example, in a CSU, how many employees are enjoying the benefits of government service insurance system. So you have to count. Okay, you need to count. You are not allowed to just estimate like, okay, maybe 20 out of 100 there are 20. No, you have to count. You have to get the data. Okay. You go to the human resource and get the printed copy of that certain payroll, or get the number of, and then get the number of employees who are enjoying the GSIS, PhilHealth, and other insurances. So it's quantified, it's measured, okay? It's counted and not just estimated. Okay, that's why some people would say, okay, you just manipulated your data. It's not a research because you manipulated. It is not based on your actual findings or actual results. So that's how the quantitative researches are done, usually done in laboratories. So for your thesis, the sooner or the later, it's quantitative research because you have to get the data. What is the performance capacity? What is the efficiency? What are the number of samples you used? Okay. What are the capacity? How many samples? How many cacao are opened by this machine per minute? So it's quantified. Okay. So the next example is survey with a question, who is your favorite actor? Okay. For example, the survey question is, who is your favorite actor? You will not say my favorite actor is secret. Okay. So it's not counted. So my favorite actor is like James Watt. Okay. My favorite actor is Kenneth Boyles. Okay. So you have to count who are your favorite actors, and then it's counted. Okay. It's measured, it's counted, and it is recorded. Okay. Another example is counting the number of cacao pods the mechanical cacao opener can open in 1 hour. Okay. In 1 hour, okay, I have to count. Okay. You put the cacao unlimited cacao pods in the uh, hopper of that mechanical opener, and then after 1 hour, how many cacaos are being opened by that certain machine. So it's counted, it's measured according to time. So it's quantitative research. Okay, so I hope we have differentiated what is the difference: quantitative, qualitative, correlational, basic, and applied. The next one is exploratory research. Okay, for exploratory research, by definition, it generally explores the areas that have required meager attention, or it is for checking the possibility of research in the particular domain or area. It's like a confirmatory test or analysis. A small-scale study is done to decide uh, the further scope of advancement in domain. Okay. In exploratory research, it depends on outcomes of exploratory study. Domain is further explored for in-depth research on the specific topic. For example, exploratory, when you say exploratory, there's you have conduct this kind of research. Okay, this year you want to study this problem, and then you want to solve this problem, and then you are not yet contented with the result. Okay, you design a certain machine to open or to cut the stock of that particular product. And then based on your results or actual findings, it is not efficient because the target is 90 to 100%. But the actual performance or efficiency of the machine is just 70%. Okay, you want to explore more. You want to study again by the next few days or months. Okay, it's exploratory. Okay, the certain domain, the certain issue or problem that you want to solve is being in a meager requirement, or in you are required to I mean to address that, but in an exploratory type, not on the specific or the that just only certain time. Okay, so it's quite small scale study. Most studies that are conducted in like prototyping are exploratory research. Okay, it's exploratory. You are not that much required to have a 100% result for that certain problem to solve, but it's exploratory. You can conduct again and again, and then until you reach the 100% uh, efficiency, 100% solution for that certain problem. Okay, so it's exploratory. Exploratory studies are also conducted to develop, refine, and test procedures, policies, and tools. Okay, sir, I want to ask you if designing a machine is part of exploratory. Yes, it's an exploratory or innovative research wherein you want to design something to solve a certain issue or a certain problem. And then you said that it is also quantitative because we have to measure. Yes, exploratory plus quantitative and plus correlational. It's still possible. Like you have a problem and then you have a thesis or you have a research study and then you want to design something. So it's exploratory. And then you get the data. And then after getting the data, you have to, I mean, your data are based on the measurement. Okay, it's also include the quantitative research, and then you want to test the variables that you have used in getting the data, like this group of variables and then group of variables, and then you have to predict what will happen after 1 month, after 1 year. Oh, it's still part of correlational research. So in that certain research, you have a lot of types of researches that being applied, not just quantitative, not just exploratory, but also correlational or applied research. Okay. So go back to exploratory. Exploratory is just like a continuous types of research. For example, why product sales are reduced due to already existing data or the product which have been acquired recently for the agricultural company. So you want to study the issue, you want to solve the issue, you want to address and then get the data and then have some findings on this question or these thoughts based on exploratory research. Why? Mostly exploratory research are answers the questions why, how, okay? How come it happened. So by exploratory, okay, why it is not efficient as this. So by exploratory research, you can address or you can solve that question after conducting or solving the issue. Another example, NASA's landing on planet Mars. How many hours in total? Okay, so how many hours? So maybe and then you explore. Then the NASA or the astronomical services and then conducted a research on landing to Mars, and then they have found that okay, they may require 20 days, 100 days before landing to Mars by this speed. Okay. It's exploratory research. Okay. The next one, we have explanatory research. So for explanatory research, it's no, this is explanatory, which tries to analyze and justify the reason behind the occurrences. So it basically answers the why type of questions. So sorry, this is explanatory research, not quantitative. So it's like a typographical error. Okay, first example. Okay, this is also actually called as causal research. Okay? Explanatory research are also called as causal research. Why? Because it aims to explain the relationship, association, or interdependence happened for a certain problem. Why? Why it occurs? Why it happens? So, for example, why the modernization creates health problem? Okay, why the modernization creates health problem? Okay, maybe the answer is like because the lifestyle of people will change because of modernization. So depends on the data, or depends on the results. Another example, why some students have causal attitude towards study while others are sincere. Okay, maybe this example is a spoof. Okay, it spoofs you as a student. I hope that it does not hurt you or will not spoof you as a student, because some students are good students while others are not. Okay, maybe different aspects to consider, like some are blessed enough to have resources. They have computers, they have laptops, they have gadgets, they have internet connections, while others are not. And then others are living in remote areas, rural areas, so they have not enough or resources to address or to cope up with the online blended learning. So there are a lot of factors to consider in explanatory research. From the term explanatory, why have to explain? You are not people will not believe if you conduct a research about the attitude of students or effect or the result of online blended learning to students, and then you did not get data based on the facts, based on the reality, that you just concluded that okay, maybe students nowadays are just too lazy. No, you are, it's not a fact, it's not a true story behind. You have to get the data. You have to interview students, both who are on the city, on the rural, students who are working while studying, students who are just plain studying, and then students who are having struggles or having problems with online learning. So it's explanatory. You have to explain based on the facts. Okay. The other example is like, what are the major benefits of affordable mechanization to rice farmers? What may be? Okay? Why it changes the life of most farmers after mechanization? Maybe like this, like that. Okay. It's kind of questions that need to be answered by the real people or affected people. You are talking about farmers, but you are interviewing professionals, so it's not answering the questions or the problem. Okay, so that's explanatory research. And then explanatory research, like I mentioned, called as causal research, with three important components, like as mentioned, okay, based on my reading, like time to time sequences. Okay, it may, you have to consider that the effect and variations. Okay, the variations, because different respondents might vary their uh, perceptions also, or comments, or answer to a certain problem or questions. Okay, the last one, I think this is one that this is the last type of research, experimental. Okay. Experimental research focuses on the field work and experiments that can be controlled or manipulated by the independent variable, okay, and independent variable. So the independent variable, based on your statistics class or your engineering data analysis class, the independent variables are variables which are controlled or set by the researcher. Okay, you have to set the variables. And then the dependent variables are measured by the researcher. Okay, for example, you want to, for example, you want to study the effect of the COVID-19 vaccine to senior citizens. Okay, which is your independent and which is your dependent variable. So you have to set the 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 senior citizens, okay, are your uh, independent variables. Okay, you have to group maybe senior citizens from 61 to 70-year old, 71 to 80. Okay, it's a variable, a group of variables, but in a bracket or in a range bracket. And then you have to get the data, single, first single dose, double dose, or a second dosage. Okay, and then what are the data, what's the effect, what are the side effects, and then you relate the variable, independent variable, which is in the senior citizen. You have set the senior citizen, and then dependent variable, which is you have measured the doses. Okay, so it's experimental research. Another example is the design and performance evaluation of coconut dehusking machine. So you are designing, so it's exploratory research, right? And then you want to get the performance, so it's quantitative research, right? Because you get the performance based on capacity, so you measured the performance of the machine, and you evaluate the coconut dehusking machine. Okay, after evaluating, so what is it? Experimental and analytical research. So it's a lot of research types that are being applied for this example, actually, not just experimental research. Okay, so you set which is dependent variable and independent. Okay, so when you say dependent, maybe for example to the coconut, okay, the coconut might be dehusked, or the coconut is unhusked. Okay, like it's just a normal coconut, and then you get the husk, or you dehusk the coconut. So it's a set of variables for independent. So it's a controlled, and then you measure the rate of cutting the or dehusking the coconut. So it's dependent variable, and then you get the relationship of the two. So it's experimental research. The third example is analysis of the agricultural land cover chains in Butuan City, for example, for a 20-year range using GIS. So you have applied GIS for this study, and then you set independent variable and dependent variable. So whatever the things that you have measured are dependent variables. So it's an experimental research. Okay. Okay. So we are done with the types of research in general classification. And according to Ransid Kumar in 2011 on the book Research Methodology third edition, so the also classified or categorized the types of research according to perspectives. Okay. According to perspectives, the three perspectives are application, objectives, and inquiry mode. Okay. For the applications of the findings of the research, okay, so it's like what is the specific use of this research? What are the goals? Okay, that's objectives. What are the inquiry relationship of this problem? What are the things that we need to inquire for this problem? So that's a inquiry mode. Okay, so these are the background on why the types of research according to perspectives has been studied also. So accordingly, on a viewpoint, there are three. So the application perspective. So for the application perspective, we have like it might be pure or research according to its application, maybe pure or applied research. Pure or basic research are the same. And in objective type, okay, so it's somehow like explanatory, correlational, exploratory, and descriptive. Okay, so based on their objectives, okay, after you have set your objectives, after you have your problems or your title for the research, and then you have set the problems, then you can identify, okay, what type of research I have to conduct. Okay, it might be correlational, explanatory, based on the objectives of the research. The last one is inquiry. Okay, so inquiry mode, like what is this? What are the end user? Who are the end user? Who are the beneficiaries of this research? Okay, and then you are counting, or you are just measuring the parameters like qualitative. Okay, so define it's quantitative or qualitative research. So it depends on the inquiry. It depends on the purpose. Okay, so that's the application perspective for the types of research according to viewpoint or perspectives. So the application perspective generally it might be pure or basic research and applied research. For the pure research, okay, the researchers involves the testing of hypotheses containing very abstract and specialized concepts. Like I have mentioned a while ago in the basic research, it's like it's applicable but not that much necessary. It has a lot of application or uses, but not much necessary. So it's purely or basic research. For applied research, okay, you are designing something, you have invented something, you want to solve something issue, and it's an application because it's necessary, okay, for a certain problem. So it's applied research according to application. Okay, so this is an application perspective. For the objectives perspective, we have three. We have descriptive research, correlation research, explanatory or exploratory research. So these are the objective types of objective perspective of research. Okay, so if you just have to differentiate why I have mentioned this, because in the previous presentation we only identify or we only define what are those general or common types of researches. Herein, we have grouped them according to the viewpoint of the researcher or the perspective of the researcher. Okay, the last one is a group based on inquiry. Okay, so structured approach or unstructured approach. So for a structured approach is quantitative. For unstructured approach, it's qualitative because in quantitative you need to measure, you need to uh, you need to record, and then you need to count, you need to uh, get the numerical values, right? So everything that forms the research process, like uh, questions that you plan to ask for respondents, is predetermined. And then, you need to measure, you need to get the value, not just the results or the response from the respondents. So for the response of the respondents based on the determined aspects, so it's qualitative research. So that's how they differ according to their purpose or perspective of the researcher. Okay, so I think or I guess I have discussed all of the types or common types of researches. I mean, it's clear and it's concise that the types of research uh, are important in considering what kind or what modality of research that you want to conduct. Okay, so in conclusion, the topology of research can be looked at from the three perspectives, right? Might be based on their application, might be based on the objectives of the study, or might be based on the mode of inquiry or what specific or what generalization or what kind of demand of research that it wants. Is it qualitative, just quantitative? Okay, it depends on the mindset or the perceptions of the researcher. And we can also say that from the point of view of the researcher, maybe this research is applied or pure or basic. So for us, agricultural and biosystems engineers, so we have to set our mind that our research are applied researches. People will benefit. People will, I mean, will we have to set that standard that our research are not just research to graduate but a research to benefit or to innovate something or to help the community, particularly the farmers or the agricultural sector. It's applied research. Okay, most of the research undertaken in engineering or in agricultural and biosystems engineering are experimental, correlational, quantitative, and qualitative researches. So you are not it's not required that you just conduct qualitative type of research, just correlational. So multi types of research are better because you can cope up, and then you can learn more, and then you can gain more, you can apply more skills and knowledge that you have gained based from your degree or from your studies. So more types of research applied in a certain problem or a certain title is better than just focusing on one type of research. Okay, so I guess these are all for this ends my presentation for the types of research. So I believe and I guess and I hope that you have learned a lot based on my presentation. So you are expected that you can now identify what types of research this type of research belong. Okay, so for example, I will give you a situation, and then what are the objectives of this research? What are the methods used for this research? And then you can identify, okay, this is experimental research. Okay, this is correlational research according to perspective or objectives or the mode of inquiry of the research applied. So, okay, so thank you. And thank you for listening, for bearing with me in this presentation. And I hope that you have learned based on my lecture. So thank you once again. Good day.